Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the angle pair relationship solutions. Pretty much all you have to do on this first section here is figure out what the pair is called. You're going to use complementary, linear pair, vertical, or adjacent for our names here. On 1, notice how those two angles add together, make a line, so they are a linear pair. On 2, notice how these are right next to each other, they share a line, and they share a vertex there. And so these ones are adjacent. They're not vertical. They're just adjacent angles. On 3, again, same feature. They share a side. They share a vertex. These ones are adjacent, and they don't form a line. And they don't add to 90. So these guys here, they're just adjacent as well. On 4, notice how this here is a straight line. This part is 90 degrees, which means this part would also have to be 90 degrees. So B and A have to add to be 90 degrees. You're going to make these be the complementary. 5, notice how this is a line, and this guy makes a line. If you got two line segments that cross, these two angles form vertical angles, and they're equal to each other, but we're just listing what they are. These are vertical angles. These guys here, notice how A does not extend this far. If it did, these would be a linear pair, but they just share a common ray and a common vertex, and so these guys are just adjacent angles. On 7, notice how they form a line segment when you put them right next to each other, or rather a ray. And so AB adds up to be 180, which is a linear pair. And on 8, A and B are made when you cross these two lines. And so notice how they're on opposite sides of that intersection. That makes these vertical angles. Moving on to the next section here, we have to figure out what the missing angle is. Notice how B and this 50 angle make a linear pair. So B plus 50 would have to equal 180. Well, if you just don't know what B is right now, you can just subtract 50 from both sides. You'll get B being 130 degrees. On 10, notice how these are vertical angles. They're opposite sides of two intersecting lines or line segments. And so B is 43 degrees. On 11, notice how it goes. This is 3 angles that add up to make it all the way around, so that's 360. Well, you'd have to figure out what B is, you'd have to subtract 209, and you have to subtract 96 to get what B is, because B is the last remaining part there. 306 minus 209 minus 96 is going to give you the wonderful number as soon as I get it figured out. See, 360 minus 209 minus 96. Oh, it's going to give me 55. So B is going to have to be 55 degrees. And on 12, these guys are complementary. So B plus this 63 degree angle would have to equal 90 degrees. And so we should subtract 63 degrees from both sides, which is going to give you B equaling the wonderful number of 27 degrees. So there's going to be B for that one. Moving on to our next plethora of angles here. B, along with that 35 degrees, is going to make us a linear pair. So it has to add up to be 180. So you just subtract 35 from both sides, if you're not sure what it is right now. And you get B equaling 145 degrees. On 14, these two guys add up to make 90 degrees, so B plus that 29 degree angle is gotta equal 90 degrees. So you just have to subtract 29 from both sides of our little equation here to figure out what B is. B is going to be 61 degrees. On 15, again, these three angles are going to add up to be 360. So B plus 94 plus 243 would have to add up to be 360. And if you want to get what B is, you got to subtract 243. You've got to subtract 94 from both sides. And if you do all that stuff, you're going to get B equaling to 360 minus 243 minus 94 is going to give you 23 degrees. On 16, these two angles form a linear pair. So if you want to get what B is, you just got to subtract 49 from 180 to give you what B is. That's going to be 131 degrees for B. We're going to stop there then.